As part of patch 2.7.5 for Diablo 3, the Natalya's Demon Hunter set is getting an overhaul. It used to be a Reign of Vengeance set, and it is now becoming a Spike Trap set. So the two-piece bonus is going to be hitting an enemy summons a Spike Trap if Spike Trap is on your action bar, and every time Spike Trap detonates, restore 1 discipline. The 4-piece bonus is going to be laying a Spike Trap, grants 60% damage reduction, pretty typical damage reduction for a 4-piece set. The duration of that bonus is equal to the number of already laid Spike Traps in seconds, which is a little bit confusing wording, but I think that would mean like when you lay a Spike Trap, if you have 10 out, the duration of that 60% is going to be 10 seconds. The 6-piece bonus is Spike Traps deal 10,000% increased damage, and each consecutive blast from the detonation chain reaction will deal 10% more damage than the previous blast. So just a huge increase in damage. Pretty typical though for a 6-piece set. And as part of this overhaul, a few additional items are being changed. So Cannon Bolter, which was a Spike Trap thing, and it used to lure enemies, will continue to do that, but it will also deal 150 to 200% increased damage. And the duration that they couldn't be taunted again is being reduced to 10 seconds. Demon's Demise is being changed so that each blast from Spike Trap will damage all enemies again after 1 second, which is what it already did, but now it also deals 150 to 200% increased damage. The bow for Natalya's set is being changed from always having a Reign of Vengeance damage property to having a Spike Trap damage property. And Trag'Oul coils, which I don't know why that's not a Necromancer item, but Spike Traps gain the Scatter rune, are deployed twice as fast, and deal 150 to 200% increased damage. It used to gain the Impaling Spines rune, but now it gains Scatter and deployed twice as fast. So really, really nice, along with an extra damage bump. So now that we know what this new set is going to do, let's try to theorycraft what a potential build is going to be in anticipation of trying this out on the PTR in a couple of days. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like on the Max Roll D3 planner, and you can try this out for yourself. Now, this isn't updated for the changes, but we just went through them, so we kind of know what they are. So we're going to want our 5 pieces of Natalya's set and a Ring of Royal Grandeur to go along with that, so we get the 6-piece bonus. We're going to want in our cube the Cannon Bolter that we just went over, which gives us a Spike Trap damage boost, along with luring enemies to those Spike Traps. We're going to want the Trag'Oul coils to get the Scatter rune, again, another damage bonus, 150 to 200% damage bonus. And because the 2-piece property is going to restore discipline every time a Spike Trap detonates, we're going to have a ton of discipline to play with in this build. So that's why we're going with an Elusive Ring and Vault, because we're just going to be able to vault all over the place constantly. Okay, so the rest of the build. Because we're putting the Trag'Oul's coils in the cube, we're able to use Wraps of Clarity, give us a nice 50% damage reduction. We're going with Squirt's Necklace because there's really no better option. Now, the piece that I've really struggled with here is the shoulders. There aren't that many good options in the shoulder slot. So I think probably Pauldrons of the Skeleton King are a good option to give you another life cheat. The other thing would be to use Mantle of Channeling and either Strafe or Rapid Fire as your means of applying the Spike Traps. Something to think about. For the belt, I'm using Hunter's Wrath to make our primary attack, which is going to be Evasive Fire, attack 30% faster, and deploy Spike Traps, again, 30% faster because of that. In our second ring slot, we're going with Convention of Elements. It's too much damage to pass up. And then in our bows. So Demon's Demise is another multiplier, which is going to be 150 to 200%. And then in our other slot, this is kind of a flex slot. You could use Natalya's here, and then it changes around what you can use in the other slots because it lets you use maybe Captain Crimson's or Guardians, depending on what you like. I think that Vengeance is so good that the ability to get 100% uptime, and you really need Dawn, I think, to get that 100% uptime, is probably worth trying out. Now, the other ways are going to be worth trying out as well, just using Natalya's here, going with Captain Crimson's for that extra damage, extra cooldown reduction, all those things. but I'd like to try out Dawn in this slot and see how that goes. Now for the rest of the skills, we've got Vault, we're going with Tumble. Smokescreen, again, we're gonna have a ton of discipline. Why not be invulnerable? Vengeance, and you have to have Spike Trap on your bar in this build. It's a requirement because the 2-piece set will only work if Spike Trap is on your action bar. I've already mentioned Evasive Fire, but let's talk about it again because I've used the Hardened rune word here, which is going to give us a 25% boost to armor. I did a little bit of testing with an already existing Demon Hunter that I had, and Evasive Fire does fire pretty quickly, especially with that 30% increased attack speed from the belt. So this may be good enough to apply our Spike Traps. But one thing I would like to try out is to just use something like Multi-Shot, hit the entire screen, and see how that works. Or if Evasive Fire is enough, then you can get rid of something like Multi-Shot or Strafe or Rain of Vengeance. Not Rain of Vengeance, Rapid Fire, and just go with maybe like Wolf Companion to get another damage boost. But that's something that's going to need to be tested. So just to reiterate, every time you hit an enemy is going to summon a Spike Trap. So we want to hit as many enemies as fast as possible, summon as many Spike Traps as possible so that they can detonate and do a crap ton of damage. For our passive skills, we've got Custom Engineering. It increases the number of Spike Traps to 5. We're going with Ambush, 40% additional damage to enemies above 75% health. Just a huge increase in damage. Cold a Week, because in this build I'm using the Wind Chill Multi-Shot effect, Cold a Week is going to be a 20% increase in damage. And then I always like having the death cheat. Maybe you don't need this because in this build we're using Pauldrons of the Skeleton King, but it's nice to have. So the way this is laid out, there's a pretty good amount of survivability with Wraps of Clarity, with Elusive Ring, with Evasive Fire, and then just the built-in 60% in the set, along with 2 death cheats. I think this could be a pretty good contender for a way to play this or something similar. Let me know what you think in the comments about this build. And, maybe we'll test it out on the PTR in a couple of days and see how it works out. That's going to be it for this one. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please press that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching.